Welcome, everybody, to the 10 Count Podcast, brought to you by Bodyslam.net. As always, I am Ty P. Across the screen from me is Jay Star, and we have an exciting day today. I mean, we got to talk SmackDown, Raw, NXT. Matt in the chat on YouTube with the Let's Go Lamper King. Hope you guys are having a fabulous week. We are. We will get into that right now because Justin and I recorded our first interview in a while. And Justin, you were the one that got this all set up. You were the mastermind behind getting us this interview. Take it away, man. Who did we interview today at 12:30 p.m. Eastern?
So today we interviewed one of my white whales, a man that I look up to in this realm of wrestling media, a fantastic gentleman. I met him at the big event on Long Island last year. And, you know, I reached out via email and he said, let's make it happen. We interviewed the 3 digits on the back of your credit card, Chris Van Vliet, Mr. CVV. Unbelievable interview. We sat down with him for about an hour. He's just an awesome guy. And there's just nothing else. I don't know what else to say about him because, you know, they say like, don't meet the people that you look up to that might disappoint you. Well, no, he was everything that we could have expected, and cannot wait for you all to hear the interview with Chris Van Vliet. It'll be exclusive on the Body Slam Patreon starting tomorrow. So if you are a subscriber to the Patreon, you'll be able to get first dibs on that. If not, you could also purchase the interview or just wait until the weekend after the exclusivity ends, and then it'll be live on the 10 Count Podcast YouTube. But what'd you think about it?
Oh, dude, it was so much fun. Lamper King with the congrats. That's awesome. good things come to good people. Thank you, Lamper King. I
Yeah,
appreciate
thank you,
that. Yeah.
Lamper. I really appreciate that.
It was fun, man. It was cool to dive into his brain, kind of get some advice from him, especially from the podcasting realm, the dad realm. Listen to him talk wrestling was really cool. I feel like I would love to talk wrestling with him all day. I like his takes. It'd be a cool thing to ever just have him back on and have like a full like wrestling pod with him in the future. But I was super pumped. I was definitely nervous the whole time. I usually don't get nervous, but it's funny when you have someone on that like. Again, I saw him on TikTok 2-3 years ago, whatever it was. He kind of brought me in through his awesome, questions and brought me to his YouTube. And then to have that full circle moment where we're interviewing him, freaking awesome.
Yeah, for me, I've been listening for a few years now. So that's why, Ty, I mean, I've spoken to you about it. I've spoken to Court about it. This is my passion. And obviously we're not getting paid for this. It's just a passion, and we love to do this. And to be able to see someone live out what I would love to do for a living, it's super cool. And to be able to talk to literally one of the top 2 people, I mentioned it on the podcast, on the interview with him, but literally one of the top 2 people that I look up to in this industry, just because of the way that he's able to get so real with his interviews. It's just an unbelievable craft that he has. And he's just, I can't say enough good words about him. But yeah, I'm excited for you guys to listen or watch, whichever you want to prefer. I'll be, after this, I'm uploading this podcast to our feed, and then I'll be working on the Van Vliet interview for probably God knows how long. I might not get any sleep tonight. We have Stussy on the YouTube. Can't wait to hear it. Thank you, Stussy. I hope you guys enjoy it, because we really did enjoy it. And, like Ty said, like, he was a little nervous for this one. I was also nervous. Like, we've interviewed The Righteous, we've interviewed Bear Bronson, we've interviewed Matt Tremont, we've interviewed several awesome superstars, but for some reason, I don't know what it was about it, but something about Chris just, it got me a little anxious. But like you'll hear him say in the interview, it's nothing to write home about. Like, your nerves are your expectations, and just go out there, listen, have a conversation, and enjoy it. Do you want to catch up in the chat here?
Yeah, I just want to hit up Lamper King with the past couple of days. So much hate online. Thank you guys. Appreciate some positivity finally this week. Of course, we want to be that positive realm. And Stussy, did you ask him about his Jordan collection? We did not, but that is a good question. Maybe if we have him on a second time, we'll phone that question in from you personally to Chris Van Vliet. And Randy with the howdy as always, Randy. But yeah, let's go back, because it's, I want to talk about it, you want to talk about it, chat wants to talk about it. Randy freaking Orton turns heel, which I know people are freaking so bewildered by it, but like I said, I don't care who it was. Did I prefer? It would be cool to see Cody? Sure, but I'm already pumped up to see what Randy has to say on Friday. I'm all in on Cody and Orton right now at WrestleMania. I'm super excited. How ruthless Randy was on SmackDown, coming through the crowd and just kind of ending Cody with that chair shot. And I'm excited to see how Cody responds and, what level that brings him up to. But the key thing was Monday night, he was supposed to have some interview with Michael Cole. He then was on a phone call with a certain someone. We have Matt on YouTube saying Randy called KO. Can't talk much. I mean, I thought maybe the same thing. I was thinking that Kevin Owens would be a great possibility, especially if he could come back and kind of screw Cody over and even have Orton win 15 by his hands. And then Stussy, I was about to say it 6 on the YouTube. Ted DiBiase, please come back. I would have loved that moment if it was Ted, but unfortunately for Ted, I mean,
isn't he still locked up?
I don't think did he go? I don't remember.
I don't know.
I can't remember if he actually went yet, if he's still waiting to go to jail. I don't know, but it would be a cool time in wrestling history in a different timeline if Ted DiBiase could come back and do his thing.
And then you got Lamper here on Twitch. LOL Meltzer said Randy was talking to Shane McMahon. Listen, Lamper, one more time before I get to my point, said it would make the most sense, Ric Flair. It absolutely would. So we actually, little spoiler into our interview with Chris Van Vliet, we did bring this up. We spoke about the road to WrestleMania a little bit, and we asked him, and he said he doesn't know, like this is what WWE is so good at doing, right? Causing all of this right now, what we are doing, that's what they're good at. And now we're all waiting to hands and knees on, hands on our knees, waiting to see who Randy Orton was speaking to. There are some, there's some great ideas. Some people think it's The Rock, but then you can argue, why would The Rock come back I know he has unfinished business with Cody, but then you have, CM Punk disrespecting his family. Why would he show up for that? I don't know. Then there's Ric Flair. I think it would be cool if it was Charlotte, because then we can get the Charlotte heel turn that we've been waiting for with Alexa, Arn Anderson. But him saying there's more than one royal family, it makes you think that it's someone with a legacy, right? So it's just, I don't know. I have no idea. It's fun to speculate though.
Do we think Manu's coming back? No, I'm kidding with that. Let's go back a little bit. Slushy 6, third year in a row that Cody has been busted open and beat up in his suit. I feel like we might see that next year, maybe the year after as well. It seems to be a running trend. And
with the heel turns, it's all heel turns. It's all heel turns, right? That are just a surprise heel turn, busting them open and heading to Mania. Listen, before we get into the chat again, I just wanted I'm okay with it being Randy, right? I am absolutely okay with it being Randy Orton that turned heel. Ty, you actually, you called it. You wanted it to happen at the contract signing just so now we can build up. So shout out to you, props to you. My only thing is, if it was Randy's going to get cheered no matter what. So did you really make a heel? People want to see Cody get beat up. People want to see Randy get vicious like he was the Viper of old. So sure, they technically turned Randy Orton heel, but I think they're still going to cheer for Randy Orton at WrestleMania. I still think Cody Rhodes is going to get the shit boot out of him at WrestleMania. Do you agree?
I don't know yet. I don't know. I think, and this is where I have to feel that there has to be some patience. And in some aspects of wrestling in WWE, I feel like I don't want patience. And in this aspect, I do, because I feel like Randy can turn the crowd if he wanted to in ways that he could. But we'll have to see. I do think that people want Randy to win. I do. Not sorry, Court, but former host, I want Randy to win 15, especially as a heel. And maybe, he gets cheered at WrestleMania by the big crowds that we have at WrestleMania. But post-Mania, he might start to get booed when he starts going against, some baby faces that people really love. And he starts doing some malicious, things, listening to those voices. And I think there is a possibility where maybe Cody doesn't get booed out, but maybe there's a split cheer for Cody at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess, like you said, we still have a month until Mania. We still have a lot to see what happens. Maybe we'll find out who was on that phone. I don't know, but right now I just see Randy Orton getting cheered and people wanting to see Randy kick the ever living hell out of Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few things in the chat I want to hit real quick. Topher mentioned that Rick is signed to AEW, so it could be him. He might be right. I think he is still signed.
Or is that his water or his energy drink or whatever it is? Was it a brand deal, or I don't know if it was an actual full contract. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I'm really not sure.
But that is an interesting point right there. Lampert King says, I would make Randy Cody Hell in a Cell. I would love that. At this point, right, with Randy going the lengths that he did on Friday, you need some kind of intense match like Hell in a Cell, like a cage match. I would be all for that. Falls Count Anywhere. Let's make this brutal. I think people will love into it, especially if we're pulling out all the stops between Cody and Randy. And then Stussy6 saying, this makes me think Cody will turn heel when we finally get Punk feud. Remember, Punk said he would always be Cody's friend last year while everyone was turning on Cody. That would be epic as hell. I would be all for that. I do want to talk about, someone showed the picture of WrestleMania 40.
I think I sent it to you.
Was it you, Justin? Yeah, Justin sent me the WrestleMania 40 picture, and it was Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, John Cena, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, with John, Randy, and Kevin all grayed out because they have all turned on Cody since that moment. I love that. If that's kind of like a full circle moment where these people, these friends start turning on him because he was champion or they feel he's the golden boy, maybe that's enough to make Cody Rhodes snap. Once we get that Jay turn on him, which might be happening if Jay and Jimmy kind of align back with Roman, and then Sami Zayn's already kind of feeling pretty crazy, and Slesty Six mentioned it. Sami basically turned on him too. They did have that tussy in the backstage area. So I would love
Tussie from Stussy.
Yeah, I can't even say it. I'm gonna freaking follow my words. But yeah, I'm really excited if that's the route they're going, and it kind of like shows the downfall of the Golden Boy, and he turns heel. I'm all for that.
Yeah, no, listen, man, that picture really was like it was cool to look at because it just shows you. This was 2 years ago, right? And you had all of them, and just one by one by one, they all turned on Cody. And it's just a matter of time. Or, you live long enough to whatever it is, you live long enough to
see yourself be the villain.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see what happens. I don't know. I feel like they're on the right track, and we can get into Raw. I mean, we can get into Oba and Brock. I thought that was great. That's what we were expecting. So, I mean, you want to keep going with the chat?
Yeah. So Piggy Bank said they turned on because they need to turn everyone heel to keep him going as a face. You're not wrong, but they could salvage it as kind of a story reasoning. And Slussy said, and last year during a Raw, Sami gave Cody the haluva kick on accident, which led into that Punk Cody promo. That is correct. And then, let's get into Raw, because I know Lambert King wrote about Io and Asuka and Raquel and Io, because that's a possibility, right? So has Io versus Asuka been changed to Io versus Raquel, and who faces JC at Stand Deliver? So there's a lot to like unpack between SmackDown, between Raw, between NXT that we've had so far this past week since we've done this episode, since we've done this podcast. But I am very excited. I was saying like they need to, foot down on the pedal. Freaking let's steam forward, and that's what we're getting, right? One thing I would have a bit of an issue with was the Roman Punk promo, which we'll get into, but I was very confused by this route, right? Because Raquel beat up Io during the Eliminator or the Gauntlet for the Intercontinental Championship, and then we have Io come back to fight Raquel. I would rather see Io, Asuka, maybe a Kyrie in there. I think I said that last week or 2 weeks ago. But it is interesting that they are rehashing out this Io versus Raquel, because she came out on Raw. I forget what the capacity was. Do you remember, Justin? I think they were beating up on someone. I forget what the capacity was, because I'm just so much has happened. But I do hope that it is Io Asuka. I think that has more liveliness to it, more stakes to it, more history. And if we just get a Raquel versus an Io, like, sure, Raquel beat her up, but like, come on, this is WrestleMania. I want more into these matches than just someone getting beat up. Like
I said, I just want to quickly, I think it was Lamper as well up in the chat. I'm just scrolling up. Body Slam reported Io versus Asuka, but he's Io versus Raquel. Like, we spoke with Chris Van Vlieten, which you'll hear. We still have a month until, we're at WrestleMania. So like, he actually told me, because like, I've said it on the podcast that so far this road to WrestleMania really hasn't felt like a road, but he kind of put it into perspective. Like, wait until the card is set, like wait until you have all the matches lined up and then be the judge, because now we just had Randy turn on Cody. And now anything can happen in a month. So I'm kind of just, things are happening all over. I'm sure they're still waiting to see if Braun Breaker is going to be cleared, right? Like there's still things that they're waiting to see which way they're going to steer, which direction they're going to go in. So, I mean, I don't know if it's been changed. I truthfully don't know. Piggy Banks, Justin's optimism about WrestleMania is going to make me unsubscribe. Bro, I mean, listen, I'm not happy with it right now, but until I see the product, I'm a sucker. I'm probably going to go upstairs after this podcast and watch the New York Rangers lose to the New Jersey Devils. And it's just it is what it is, dude. I'm a sucker for pain and misery. I don't know. But yeah, anything can happen. So there a lot of things are probably up in the air. That's all I'm saying. They're trying to throw different ideas out there, trying to tease different things. So if it does go that route, it makes sense. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I just want to point out Adam Yarborough on Facebook. His first time he's commented for us. Could Randy Orton be talking to Ted DiBiase Jr.? Unfortunately, Ted is undergoing trial for 13 counts of criminal court counts related to potential misappropriation of Mississippi state welfare funds. So it is definitely not Ted DiBiase Jr., but crazier things have happened. Let's dig into Oba. I was so nervous when Brock Lesnar was going face to face with Seth Rollins because I was like, they are really going to stab me in the heart and not pull the trigger on an Oba versus Brock Lesnar. Thank God, because Topher said it on YouTube. If Oba's going against Brock, feels like Braun is probably ready to go against Seth. That's what it seems like, unless Seth and Braun are both hurt still. And then we don't get that at all. And that becomes maybe a backlash match. So I am very pumped up that Oba showed up in the way he did, how he powerbombed Brock Lesnar in such an epic way. I know it was very over the top. Brock Lesnar jumped as high as he does when he jumps on the apron to get up on Oba's shoulders, but that was a great freaking moment. So I am excited. This is one of the matches that I really wanted to happen this year. And that is one thing that WWE so far has delivered for me to be very happy about.
Yeah. And just, I know there was a report out there saying that Brock said that he didn't want to lose until his retirement match, but I'm pretty sure that got debunked. So listen, Oba and Brock is going to be money. I think it was pretty cool that you can tell that Brock told Oba to step on him while he was down.
Yep.
And Brock sold the shit out of it, man. I haven't seen Brock sell that hard since I don't even know when. So I'm excited for it. I think it's a who better for Oba Femi to beat than Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania to really just skyrocket that career, you know?
Yeah, and it was interesting too because the facial reaction that Brock gave when Oba was coming out was something I don't think I've ever seen Brock do. It was kind of like a pissed off, but like kind of afraid kind of look that he was giving. And that was really cool to me too, especially when, they talk about, Triple H and wrestlers talk about the little things. That moment right there, I was like, holy shit, has Brock ever made that face when someone's come out? And that to me kind of put it all together. Lambert King said, regardless of Brock's past, he is a top seller in wrestling. That he is. The dude can sell. Stussy on YouTube, Oba is going to put over the young upstart Brock Lesnar as always. Who wouldn't want to put over the young upstart as Brock Lesnar? And yeah, I hope they go about this right. They should have Oba Femi dismantle Brock Lesnar if they want to go full force, right? Because Oba's just come out and beat up some of the mid carders and low card people. If they want him to go full force this year, gotta have him take it to Brock Lesnar.
And I want to go here with Piggy Banks. Shane McMahon, Chris Jericho, or Joe Hendry was on the phone. I don't think it was Joe. Chris Jericho could be. I mean, listen, so Ty and myself were discussing before the podcast, and I mentioned it, I believe, last week. We have now 2 weeks in a row, or now it's 3 weeks in a row of a subtle Chris Jericho tease. So it was 2 weeks of CM Punk saying that Roman Reigns made the list, talking about Roman learning under the Samoan learning tree. And then this past Monday, you had Seth Rollins saying, I can't believe I let you into my inner circle. So that would be interesting because but then like the whole royal family thing kind of throws you off, right? So
I don't know. Because the royal family could just be referring to Orton and not the person on the phone, right? He could just be referring to himself. Maybe he's talking about the other person on the line that also has a royal family in wrestling, but maybe he could be referring to himself. This made me laugh. Stussy 6, that hype Brock got on that powerbomb. Don't even think Mick Foley jumped off the cell that way. Dude, so freaking funny. It reminded me of like 2K26, the new swamp area there, just people falling off that distance. That's what Brock did. He fell that whole distance when Oba powerbombed him. But yeah, I think that Randy could just be referring to his bloodline, maybe not to who was on the phone. I think it'd be cool, right? Because then you can have, tie into this feud that there's other royal families in wrestling that are offended that Cody thinks that, now he's the new royal family of wrestling because he's the golden boy.
Yeah, then
Piggy Bank said, I think he was referring to Orton being the royal family. Yeah, I completely agree. I think that's definitely fair.
And Topher, save Y2J, Corey. Yeah, Corey Hayes is fave. You absolutely know that. That would be interesting though, because they could tease this knowing that Jericho is eventually coming in, right? And just his contract is still unfortunately frozen by AEW, and they know when his contract is going to end. And Orton saying, "I will see you soon," doesn't mean next week. Doesn't mean the week after. It could just be, hey, this is when Jericho's free, and Jericho is now just one of my friends that just talked me into this needed to be done. Because maybe now he can even, now I'm going into a whole little fantasy booking, but Jericho has a past with Cody and AEW. I know they probably won't really refer to it as AEW, but Jericho can say, I've seen him get this way. He needed to be put down, and Randy agreed. And that, that would be into maybe Jericho versus Cody. I don't know, but it definitely, listen, this is what, like I just said, this is what they're good at. They're great at making us talk with everyone else and speculate and go crazy about who's possibly on that damn phone. Just like the damn crate.
Yeah. Piggy Bank said, if it's Chris Jericho, I'll take a cowboy ribeye straight from Justin's butcher shop. I am now hungry. Thank you for mentioning a cowboy ribeye. I am starving now. Stutzy6, imagine NXT champion Chris Jericho. Hey, we saw NXT champion Dolph Ziggler. I would, never hold it against them. Maybe they want Jericho to be the learning tree of NXT. Maybe just completely rip that off of AEW. But I do want to get into, because it pissed me off so much, obviously, Roman Reigns, CM Punk. We had a hot 2 weeks. Granted, last week there was no Roman, typical Roman. Thank you for showing up, our tribal chief. Appreciate you gracing us with your presence this past Monday. What the fuck? I'm going to just say it. Was the thought process of first Roman leaving the ring and CM Punk going out and calling him a young boy, and Slessy6, very underwhelming segment. I agree. But calls him a young boy, and Roman just gets back in the ring like a young boy. And then Roman calls CM Punk old, and that's how we get the dynamic switch. Now, for some reason, Roman's in Punk's head because he called him old. What the hell is that? I forget who mentioned it last week or even 2 weeks ago as well. It might have been Lamper, it might have been Stussy, but they mentioned that Roman should bring up, I think it was Lamper, should bring up either Punk's parents, Larry. That should have happened, right? I didn't think that was needed, but now I think that was needed, because that was garbage to say you're old, and that's the one that blows the gasket right there. I was so freaking annoyed.
Yeah, doesn't it? I believe it was actually on the Body Slam Patreon. I can pull it up real quick while I'm talking, but they were going to bring up Larry, and Punk was okay with it, but they just decided to go a different way. I'll actually bring it up. So one day ago, this is Body Slam Patreon. So I'm giving you guys a little tidbit. You can go subscribe, $5 a month. Well worth it. Last night's episode of Raw saw Roman Reigns and CM Punk exchange words to close out the show. The exchange resulted in Reigns getting knocked down by Punk after calling him old. Sources indicates at Body Slam that this was not the original creative direction for the segment. The original creative direction would have seen Roman respond to Punk's comments about his father with a darker response about Larry. And, Corey said that Punk was okay with it. So I don't know what the switch up was, because the switch up made Punk, no offense, look like a little bitch for getting annoyed about being called old. It did not make CM Punk look good at all.
Didn't make either of them look good, right?
Yeah,
So Roman's big comeback to, being buried next to his dad was Punk's old, and then Punk being mad that he got called old. Like, bro, you are, but you're the world heavyweight champion, so what the fuck does it matter, right? I don't know, man. I was really bummed. I got super excited to have that face off again, since the last time they faced off, Punk said he was gonna bury next to his dad, and that's what we got, and that was such a shame. Lamper King on Twitch, it was so awkward. It was. And also the freaking promo that Roman hit post Raw should have been added. That should have been more to what they did on the main show. I was baffled by the decision making on this. Celeste 6, I feel they think mentioning Larry is a big moment and they're saving it for the final Raw. And Piggy Banks, he's referred to himself as old on numerous other occasions. He has. And it just doesn't make any sense. Like, that's where, like, you're having you're having a pretend argument with like a kid, and then they're like, well, you're old. And it's like, you're not, but you actually get offended. It's like, what is that? Like, what is
you're
that?
Not good at math. Ty, you're not good at math.
Great.
You don't know algebra, dude.
Dude, I was so bummed. And that's like how you end Raw, especially like you started so hot with Obafemi, with Brock, with Seth, with Paul Heyman, which, dude, Paul Heyman is a freaking god. The way he came out, the freaking red eye, the non-shave, the ripped open suit, dude is a freaking madman. He's a legend. And then we end with that load of crap.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is me being the optimistic, the optimist again. So sorry,
optimist out of here.
Yeah,
You're
so sorry.
high on life now.
Listen. Week 1, I felt like Roman won the promo battle. Right. Week 2, you had Punk win. So now you got week 3. They kind of wanted to, they didn't want anyone to go overboard. They still have 4 weeks to build up, and they're getting there. So I don't know. It fell flat. It 1000% fell flat. I didn't enjoy it. But listen, I hope, like Stussy said, truthfully, like, how much Larry meant to CM Punk and AJ Lee. Shit. I mean, you know that I just lost a dog a month ago. It sucks. It hurts. I hope if Punk is cool with it, and it was Corey said that Punk is okay with that, they have to bring Larry into it.
Yeah.
Because that would set Punk off, not the old comment. So I don't know.
Piggy Banks, they went with the George Costanza jerk store insult. That they freaking did, and it was quite awful. I want to dig into what Lamper King is talking about on Twitch. At least Bailey got a great match out of AJ. Bailey got great matches out of Lady Flamer and AJ. Bailey, dude, she should be some sort of champion right now. I don't know at what capacity. That match was kind of a fresh breath of air watching AJ. I still think she has a little bit to go. I feel like they should put her in 1 or 2 more matches on live TV before WrestleMania. But the rust is coming off. We got to see more. I do like, it seems like it is harder for AJ to do the I don't know what, the twirl around the person before what's her finisher called?
Isn't the widow's no
I'm blanking out on it for some reason. I can't think. But anyway, like when she just jumped on Bailey and did it, I thought that was perfect. I feel like she doesn't have to constantly do the twirl around someone like that, her fake Hurricane Rana into her finisher to get that submission in. So I hope they go the route where she kind of just like jumps on them and puts that in.
The Black Widow. There you go.
Thank you, Topher.
Yeah, knew it was something with Widow in it. Yeah, and like I said that last week, I believe the match was scheduled to help AJ get the rust off before WrestleMania, because truth be told, the match with Becky wasn't that great, and the promo battles with Becky were definitely not that great. Unfortunately, I mean, sure, Bailey gets an opportunity, right, at the Women's Intercontinental Championship, but we knew what the outcome was. we knew she was going to come up short. And Bayley's the GOAT. I mean, I know I'm on record saying Becky Lynch is the GOAT, but those, like, the 4 horsewomen are unbelievable. Like, I can't say anything bad about any of them, and they all deserve the absolute best. And I feel like out of all of them, Bayley's been the one getting the short end of the stick, and I'm not okay with that. Yeah. You know, Bayley's going out there and she's doing these free wrestling weekends, you know, these boot camps with the women she's picking. It's all because Bayley cares, and Bayley's the best. And listen, if Bayley doesn't somehow get on that WrestleMania card this year, I am going to be very upset. But who knows? It's kind of looking like it's going to be that way, right? Unless she gets involved with, I don't know, something with Lyra, or I don't know, man. But Bayley is unbelievable, and she deserves a spot on WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, Topher said it best. Bayley might be the underrated MVP for WWE right now with all that she's doing. Yeah, I mean, look, she's showing up in AAA. And like you said, Justin, she's doing those camps on the weekends. Like, she's hustling. She's trying to, you know, make the women's division even better. Piggy Bank said, isn't she potentially on her way out?
Rumors. It's all rumors. I don't know much along, you know, I think a contract might be coming up in the near future. But I'm sure TKO and WWE would want to bring her back, right? Like, they don't want to see Bayley jump over to AEW. I wouldn't. So, I mean, listen, if Bayley does jump over to AEW when her contract's up, that's what she wanted to do. She will crush it. Oh, yeah. And she will boost that women's division like crazy. So I don't know. I think it comes down to, are you comfortable where you are with WWE? You're getting a paycheck. You're living nice. You know, you're living great. I don't know. We'll see. There's definitely plenty of dream matches for her in AEW, but listen, to me, she's grown up in WWE. I think she should end in WWE. And I think it's more upsetting with Bayley. Like, you know how they were kind of going that schizo route with Bayley with those segments? Those segments just dropped out of nowhere.
Yep. They
just ended. And it was kind of around the time where she was doing this camp, and then it was just like back to her and Lyra, which I thought that was going to pay off awesome, but I don't know why they dropped that whole character switch. I don't know.
And Piggy Bank said, why pay her if she's not being used? I agree. But some people, like Tony Khan, he puts them in Guantanamo Bay, and you sit there until, you're released or you let go. Yeah, the El Juggalo on YouTube with the whoop whoop. Thank you, my man, for tuning in. Sussy says all part of the show. Yeah. And then Topher said, in my opinion, think Bayley stays. Seems like with what all she's doing makes me think she stays. She's a locker room leader like Natty.
Yes, and nailed it right on the head, Topher. She is a locker room leader to the T. Obviously, we saw Natty defeat Maxine again. I still need more from the Natty character, just while we're on that topic. I know what Natty can do, and I need WWE just to give her, like, take the leash off Natty, please. Like, it's okay. She is literally the longest tenured wrestler, I think, in all of WWE right now. So please just take the leash off, let her run with this character, because she can do one hell of a job. Then Lamper on Twitch, is Statlander's contract up? Rumors again that Chris Statlander's contract might be coming to an end. I don't know. I don't have any sources. I haven't heard anything. But that was kind of one of the reasons why, when we did our predictions for AEW Revolution, that I kind of thought Tekla would retain against Chris Statlander, and that's what happens. So only time will tell. Listen, once you're around WrestleMania season, things get funny. Things get weird. Contracts all of a sudden are ending, and I think wrestlers kind of want their contracts to end around this time for a reason, right? They want to build up the suspense. They want to build up the speculation. So only time will tell. And if it's a huge surprise, I'm sure they're going to try their best to keep it under wraps.
Yeah. And Toby mentioned need the Natty from Bloodsport to be that in WWE 100%. Mm-hmm. I do want to fly backwards a bit. Stussy mentioned, speaking of George Costanza, Drew pulled the George. He quit his job, but showed up anyway. I was so thrilled by that swerve. I was so confused to the route they were going when Drew McIntyre went up and quit. And I was like, is this a swerve that we're going to see hopefully play out or what? And then obviously later that night, Drew comes and screws over Jacob Fatu. The boy Trick Williams takes the big W over Jacob. And we're in it. Drew, hopefully he's fake quit and he shows up next week and still shows up to his job. And we get that WrestleMania match.
How many times does Drew McIntyre have to quit WWE? I mean, honestly, I think the guy, I mean, it was like Batista, I think, quit twice, right? Drew McIntyre must lead the WWE in times that he's fake quit the WWE. It is what it is. We've mentioned it. We believe that Drew has to go and record film, I think, for Highlander or whatever he's a part of. So I'm sure we'll get a match where Jacob Fatu absolutely destroys Drew McIntyre. I don't know if Drew will get the victory and then Jacob just snaps and then writes off Drew McIntyre. I don't know, but we're definitely going that route.
Yeah, I mean, we had, where was that? I think Lambert King said he almost has quit as many times as Sasha did. It's true. It's just, there's so many times you could do something, right? But at least this time it was a resolve that later that night. That's why I'm fine with it. If it was something that was kind of prolonged, it would have bothered me.
Yeah, and then Piggy Banks on YouTube, didn't he also quit and do the same thing? Yeah, this is the Drew McIntyre full circle moment where he just had to quit again and jump in again and just be pissed off. Listen, Drew's a worker. Drew does what they're writing for him, but you can only do the I quit scheme so many times before it just really gets old. And that's just I don't know if it's just me. I don't know. Yeah.
I do want to hit Adam Yarborough on Facebook. Do you think Johnny Gargano should join AEW? I don't. So here's the problem, right? The problem starts last year. Let's take back last year where we had a stacked SmackDown's tag team division. And now we have this now way too long Wyatt 6 versus the MFT's feud going on and holding these titles hostage. The titles should have never been involved between those two factions to begin with. They could have fought over this damn lamp that Uncle Howdy can't seem to keep his hands on because the MFTs keep abusing him. They could have feuded over this damn lamp. And the SmackDown tag division could have stayed the Street Profits, DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, and now we're getting like a Damian Priest and R-Truth, right? Like there's the SmackDown tag division last year was top notch, wasn't even featured on WrestleMania. And that to me was absolutely insane. And now we have a dismantled DIY because Tommaso's now in AEW, but also like if Johnny went to AEW, they have too much talent over there anyway. They barely can showcase the right people as is. So I don't even know where Johnny Gargano would best fit in this scenario, to be honest.
Yeah, and let's just go back to, I believe it was Piggy Banks. Why pay her if she's not being used? It goes for both companies. When you have such large rosters, you only have so much TV time, unfortunately. And it's just up to creative putting you somewhere, right? There's wrestlers in both companies, AEW and WWE, that are being paid, but they're just not being used. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. And I believe Johnny Gargano is still firmly under WWE contract. So back to Adam's question, should he join AEW? If you want to see DIY in that kind of realm, I think you can kind of get back the NXT gold days of Gargano, but he can still do it by himself. And then, like you said, Ty, you had all these tag teams. Now they're teasing a breakup of Motor City Machine Guns. So, it's kind of like what's going on. I don't know, but I believe Johnny Gargano is still firmly under WWE contract. Don't expect him to be leaving anytime soon. I know people were speculating about him leaving once he got destroyed by Oba. But now he's just, doing Twitch streams, planking for hours. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Stussy on YouTube, Miz and Danhausen will probably end up with the Raw tag team titles at some point.
I could see it.
Absolutely. Danhausen, listen, the video of Danhausen trying to be Stone Cold Steve or Cold Steve Austin.
So funny. So funny.
Yeah, it's just the comedy, the humor. It's just I'm a sucker for it. I'm an absolute sucker.
And speaking of Cold Steve Austin, Piggy Banks on YouTube, do we think Stone Cold runs anyone over this year? If they give him a quad, a tight outside ring area and some beers, most likely he will. So Steve Austin, stay clear of running into people this year, please.
Yeah, I know that they have him confirmed for, I think it's Wrestle, whatever their meet and greets are. So he'll be there. I'm sure they're going to want to try to include him, right? So only time will tell. I wish I had all the answers, but I don't. And I know some people that probably do, but even them, they're not going to want to give us all the answers because then it ruins it, right?
Yeah, I still want to know what happened with that woman that he blasted through the barricade. Did you hear of anything? Did she get comped anything? Did she get money back? Did she have lifetime tickets somewhere? I don't, freaking insane.
Yeah, no, I have no idea.
Lamper King 2002 on the Twitch. Can you guys guess who faces JC Jane? A ladder match? I really wanted it to be Sol Ruka, Zarya, and JC, but we had that last night. So I don't know. Where do we go from here for Stand and Deliver? Is it an internal battle within the Fatal Influence? Or does someone step up and just have win a battle royal or some sort to face JC Jane?
Yeah, I mean, I know I had the thought that it could be Blake Monroe now, but Blake made her intentions very clear last night. She's going back after that North American Women's Championship. She kind of dragged Tatum Paxley down to hell, right? That's where her dark
Kane. Yeah, she took that one from Kane.
Her dark character is living, and I think she's going to stick with this dark character for a little bit. So I think you can rule out Blake Monroe. And then, yeah, I mean, listen, Fallon Henley dropped the Speed Championship to Ren Sinclair. So maybe you start getting that internal, like you said, the internal beef, the internal Judgment Day feud between Fatal Influence, maybe. I'm curious to see where it goes because I don't know if it's going to be Sol and Zarya. I think they need to still have that one-off match between themselves. To
spit on my microphone.
I feel like Sol and Zarya still need to have that one-off to finish their feud, and I think that should be at Stand and Deliver.
Correct.
So I don't know. I really don't know where they go right now with JC Jane. Only time will tell, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Topher on YouTube said Kendall Gray is facing JC. I thought that would be awesome. I think that'd be perfect.
Was that announced for Stand and Deliver? Because I must have missed that. I mean, that's what I would love. I mean, even last week I said Kendall Gray to the moon. Kendall is unbelievable. So unless I missed it, I could have. But that would be unbelievable, and I would be so excited for that. No, yeah. And then Lamper on Twitch. I'm assuming Rain and Nikki Blackheart debut at Stand and Deliver. At least one of them. I would say at least one of them, if not both. But definitely, I mean, expect both of them in the near future. Yeah,
I think Kendall Gray probably would be best case scenario, right? Because if Kendall were to knock off JC Jane, who majority of this year has been a dominant force on NXT, would be a bigger rocket to propel Kendall even higher. She's super talented in the ring. She's great with the promos. She's young. She has it all. So why not, strap that rocket to her back, have her beat this, dastardly JC Jane, who we can't predict properly on any of our predictions. And I just want to hit Lamper King said, am I wrong to say the NXT Women's Championship is the most prestigious title in all of women's wrestling? I don't disagree there, man.
No.
I don't disagree. The women on NXT give it their absolute all. They give it their absolute best. And the women that hold that championship are always freaking fantastic. They deserve it. They ride high when they're holding that championship. So I don't disagree with you there. And then Stussy Six said they made it sound like she gave up her Evolve championship for a shot at the NXT title. I guess I missed that. I didn't see that at all.
Well, I know Jackson Drake lost his Evolve title to Aaron Rourke, another Long Island fella. So shout out to him. I don't know. I guess they could have teased it, but I don't think it's official. But absolutely should be official.
Yeah.
I mean, give Kendall Gray the opportunity at Stand and Deliver, and that match will absolutely be a banger. And then Lampert, JC is the most valuable female in wrestling right now. Once again, truthfully, I couldn't agree more. She has been so, like, once they do like the awards or whoever does any sort of awards, most improved female has to be JC Jane. They put her in a spot and she has over delivered times 50, to the point where even TNA was like, all right, we're going to put our title on her as well. She has had an incredible 2025 into 2026. She's been great.
Yeah, man. JC Jane has proved me wrong over and over and over again. And she even mentioned it in her promo, right? She sees what the IWC is saying. I thought it too. I thought she was a transitional champion. And boy, did she make me put my foot in my mouth, because she took that championship and freaking elevated it to the max. I mean, I enjoy watching her every week. She's so much fun. Sussy Six no. On YouTube with the username Stussy Six. Jada Parker is my new favorite wrestler because we share a birthday. LOL, same year too. That is freaking awesome, my dude. Does it happen to be June 6th? Because that would be weird. But yeah,
this is too. No, I'm sorry. This is too much. Ty, this is too much. We've done this week after week after week. Now this is being typed out. Jada Parker is my new favorite wrestler. This is way too much. The burner account from Stussy and Ty. I'm starting to add all the pieces up together, because that's another wild one.
That is Piggy Banks. That is awesome. I will hopefully remember to say happy birthday to your son on June 6th. If we happen to have a pod around that time, which we probably will, I'm glad he shares that birthday with me. It's a great day. Except in 2006, when it was 666, when I was in high school, people punched the crap out of my shoulder because that day I was apparently the devil child. That was not fun. But Jada Parker, her birthday, so I can debunk that Stussy Six is indeed not me, is February 12th, 1999.
And then, yeah. All right. Yeah, you were looking that up while you were typing. Ethan Page only has 9-star classics. Yeah, all right, Ty. I'm on to you. Yeah, I'm on to you.
I mean, look, he's. Let's talk Ethan Page. Great segue, Stussy. I was so pumped up that the segment between Ricky and Ethan and Joe and Tony D'Angelo kind of cemented that Ethan's like, hey, dude, I'm not going for a 2-time North American champion. He's already the greatest NXT North American champion of all time. Now he wants to be the greatest NXT champion of all time, become a 2-time, just like Ricky wants. But Ethan will do it 20,000 times better. Granted, it seems like there's going to be a fatal 4-way match at Stand and Deliver that will include Tony D'Angelo, which kind of hurts me a little bit because I do love Tony. But Ethan Page does no wrong. He is the man around NXT. He's the man around WWE. So it's going to be hurtful, because I if it was a triple threat match, honestly, I think Ethan could pull that win out. But with how they're pushing Tony D, I have a weird feeling that if there's a fatal 4-way at Stand and Deliver for the NXT Championship, I think Tony D might walk out with that one.
Yeah, I'm excited for the prediction podcast once we get there. Once again, Ethan Page, we've mentioned this before, that it came out with Body Slam once again. WWE has been very happy with Ethan Page's performance since joining the company. They're looking to give him one last main title, world championship match, and then I'm expecting the call up. So Stand and Deliver is looking like a fatal four-way. Like you said, Tony D'Angelo, Joe Hendry, Ricky Saints, Ethan Page. And I definitely don't expect Ethan Page to take the pin unless that's his way of really
he freaking better not take the
pin. Unless that's really his way of leaving NXT behind and going up to the main roster, which then in sense would make sense. So, I mean, I could see it, but hey, Tony D'Angelo is on a rampage, and I agree with you. I see either Tony D or maybe Joe Hendry retains, but I don't know, because even Joe Hendry I can see on the main roster soon.
I just don't know if Ethan Page moving up at this moment is the best idea, because we have, like you said, there's still returning Chris Jericho, right? There's, Kevin Owens, who's still recovering from injury. Allegedly. But we just brought up Trick Williams, Javon Evans, Obafemi, all, with their fingers in the pot in the upper mid card and the main event scene of WWE. So I feel like it might be too crowded at this point for an Ethan Page to show up. Maybe they have a vision for Ethan Page, no pun intended, but I don't know if this post WrestleMania is the time to bring Ethan in. And that's why I feel like he could win the championship and could maybe hold it for 3 to 6 months and then maybe make his way up to the main roster. Celeste6 saying Ethan should act like the tribal chief and say he has a back injury that prevents his shoulder from touching the mat. I love that. I freaking agree.
Oh my God, you guys and Ethan Page, you guys with Jada Parker, you guys with you guys are just too much. Lamper on Twitch, Ethan Page first feud with Dragunov would be great. All right. So let's talk about this here. We're at the 53-minute mark, Ty. If you're all right with going a little over, we can go a little over. So we've discussed previously, I always get worried about call-ups because they are at their peak. They're in the best situations in NXT, and then they get these call-ups, and then if there's nothing in place for them, they falter, right? Because there's only so much TV time. With Ethan Page, where do we book him? Because I don't know if, as much as I would like Lamper, as much as I would like to see a match with Dragunov, I don't know if that's the right start to it, because I don't know if he comes out on top in that. I need Ethan to be put in a spot to succeed. So would that be with the Vision? Would that be in another faction? Would that be with, hell, maybe they turn Cardona and now you have Ethan Page, Cardona, and Chelsea Green and Alba Fire running amok on SmackDown? What would you do, Ty? If you were the booker and you had the pencil, what would you do for Ethan Page coming up to the main roster?
I mean, I said it last week. Heel Cody Rhodes faction, baby. Bring up Ricky, bring up Ethan. But yeah, I think you would have to put Ethan and Chelsea together. They struck gold with that combo. I think it'd be great to add Matt Cardona in that mix because he's kind of in lull right now as well. And, Alba Fire is great. And I'm blanking on what's her face? The other
Piper Niven.
Piper Niven. I think that'd be a great faction where if Chelsea can win the United States Championship back, because again, they put the strap back on Julia and they're kind of not using it. They're letting it just, kind of teeter around some potential storylines. And it's not working, right? I think they need to focus on building Julia more before throwing a title on her. Chelsea's there. And if she can have that huge faction revolving around her with Ethan, with Matt, with Piper, with Alba, I think that would be fun. I think it'd be awesome. And maybe have either Ethan or Matt have the men's US championship at that point. Hold it hostage where it's like, I'm not doing these weekly defenses. I'm too good for that. I think there's potential there. So that's how I think it would go. Stussy said Punk retains and Ethan is his first challenger after Mania. Ethan has said he still wants his revenge after Punk cost him the NXT title. That would be a great segue. He would fit great in the main event scene right off the bat, especially, let's get eyes on Ethan on the main roster. Why not have him do promo battles with CM Punk? They both can go on the mic. Stussy, I agree completely.
Yeah, when I say putting him in a good spot, if you're putting him straight to the world championship against CM Punk, if he comes short there, fine, but that's putting him in a main event spot, and that's good. With Ilya, I feel like you're getting lost in the mid card a little bit, and I still don't think he would come out on top. So I don't know if that would benefit Ethan Page that much. We got Matt on YouTube. Shane O'Mac return only asked because I have a recommendation to watch. I guess he could be one of the options, right? He could definitely be one of the options. We know that he met with, the Young Bucks and all that when he was trying to get back into the world of wrestling. Is it possible? Sure. Could it be plausible? Yeah. Can you make a story about it? Yeah. So yeah, I guess he's one of the options. I don't know for sure, but he's definitely in the ballpark. He's not like he's outside the ballpark. He's in there. You got Topher on YouTube. Give Chelsea the big belt.
Yes.
I mean, welcome 100%. To the podcast, brother. Welcome to the pod. My wife is listening, so I can't talk too much good about Chelsea, but yeah, she deserves a world championship opportunity, or just being the world champion. Lamper on Twitch put Evil with Ethan. I think when they bring Evil in, I know that there were some stories out there saying that Evil actually asked to go to NXT first to learn the way WWE does, TV and everything. But there's something with Tama and Shinsuke that has Evil written all over it. It has Evil written all over it. When that comes to fruition, I don't know. But man, that just smells like an Evil situation. And Stussy, Shane McMahon also has 9-star classics. I mean, if he's falling off of anything, I don't. Literally. I mean, Dan, that moment with Steve Blackman still just sits in my memory bank when I was a kid. Yeah, unbelievable.
Even crashing off the Hell in a Cell through a table by himself when I think it was Kevin Owens was he fighting when he went for the elbow drop and Kevin
wasn't it the Undertaker? I thought it was Taker.
Was it Taker? I don't. I thought for some reason I thought it was Taker. I don't remember. But him just going through a table, jumping off the Hell in a Cell was insane in itself. Also, Matt, Shane and Angle through the glass where he didn't go through the first time. He landed on his freaking head, and Kurt picked him out back up. Was like, nah, we're doing this the right way, and tossed him through the glass. That Shane can take a beating. I give him props. Slessy6 said he beat the tribal chief. That he did. He did beat the tribal chief. But I do want to go back a little bit to Topher about Chelsea and the big belt. I mean, dude, she's got to win Money in the Bank. I feel like if she's healed by Money in the Bank, she has to win Money in the Bank. I think with the fallout from Unreal, with what Michael Hayes said, and how he tried to backtrack that on the Undertaker's podcast, I think it would be freaking perfect to show her flowers, let her win Money in the Bank, let her hold either the WWE Women's Championship or the World Championship. I think she absolutely deserves it. She's a businesswoman. She goes all out for the company, and she's super over. So I think she deserves that every bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's no more to be said, right? If you're a fan of the 10 Count podcast and you've been listening for a while, you know exactly our thoughts and feelings on Chelsea Green and just the way she's able to get herself over, the way she helps other people get over it. Top notch. Absolutely top notch. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, I just wanted to say quick 2 things. One, I'm very happy that Tatum Paxley won in a great match with Izzy Dame. And second, we didn't talk about it, but Randy Orton taking the WWE Championship and having the belt around his waist on the chair was one of the most epic photo shots I've seen in a long time that WWE has produced. I got the chills, and that's really why I now won 15. Randy better be an 18-time world champion by the time his career is over.
Yeah, that image, unbelievable. Only time will tell, like we've been saying. there's still a month to go until WrestleMania. So as much as I've been disappointed with the road to WrestleMania thus far, we got to be patient. Let's see what happens. Let's see what the final card is, and then we can make our judgment. But thank you all, 227 of you. Thank you to everyone in the chat. This has been one hell of a day for the 10 Count Podcast and bodyslam.net. We pulled double duty today from the amazing interview with Chris Van Vliet that will be live on the Body Slam Patreon starting tomorrow morning. And then we'll go live on the 10 Count Podcast YouTube after that this weekend to tonight. Just the chat just popping off. Thank you all so much. I say it every week. Thank you guys so much. It makes this so much fun. It gets us through our Wednesdays, and just absolutely cannot wait until we're down here talking about wrestling every Wednesday night. Be sure to go subscribe to the Body Slam Patreon. It is $5 a month. It gets you all the exclusive interviews like Chris Van Vliet tomorrow with us, podcasts, breaking news, exclusives, and more. It is well worth it. Just one cup of coffee and you'll see it's worth it. Obviously, go subscribe to us at the 10 Count Podcast. Down in the bottom left-hand corner on all socials, especially YouTube. The YouTube is growing and growing. Like I said, the content is it's paying off. So can't wait to get upstairs, kiss my baby, kiss my wife, and then get to work on some more content.
Can I get a kiss too on the way up?
Yeah, I mean, hey, I spent more time with you today than I have my wife. So just thank you all from the bottom of our hearts. So once again, 10 Count Podcast, or at the 10 Count Pod on all socials. Ty is at TLP_maximum on X. I am at JStar02. And actually, we will not have an episode Sunday. So Saturday or Sunday, the episode with Chris Van Vliet will go live to the public on our YouTube. I am going away. I am taking a little weekend getaway with my family. So looking forward to that. So everyone enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your weekends. And we will see you back here next Wednesday night for the 10 Count Podcast. It is Ty. It is J-Star. And we are out.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.